Did you ever wonder how to make your own chicken broth? Welcome to the cooking school, where I'm going to show you in detailed instructions how you can make frugal, very extremely frugal chicken broth. Good morning everyone, and welcome to cooking school. Today I am going to show you how you can make chicken broth very frugal, and in fact extremely frugal. This is a full tutorial from the very beginning to the very end. This is for either canning or freezing. So if you do not like to can food, you can freeze this and it works just as good. I'm going to show you today how I get it so frugal and so extremely frugal. I just went yesterday to the discount grocery store and I was able to get chicken for $1.19 a pound. This is chicken legs. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you fully how to make this, and we're going to find some herbs out here on our porch and we're going to add that, and we're also going to add some onions that really need to get used up. So what we're doing is we're taking all different kinds of things in our home to create a really good rich broth. Now you can buy chicken broth at the store, but this is one item that is 100 times better homemade than store-bought. Store-bought chicken broth oftentimes will have a very pale yellow to it. This is going to be a very rich chicken broth. I just recently went through all of my pantries and all of my food, and that is in a video in itself, which will be coming up here really soon. I need two things canned, and that is chicken broth and corn. Those two items I am going to be showing you, plus we have more on our cooking school because I'm going to show you taking ground beef and we're going to can that in a very unusual way, and that also is a video coming up. All right, first thing we need to do is I need to take this out of its container. I'm going to rinse the chicken and then I'm going to put it into a kettle with water. I'll show you that here in just a minute. All right, so we have the chicken covered with water. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up some of these onions. Now these onions need to get used up. I'm not too concerned about cutting them up finely because we're actually just using the onions for flavoring. I'm just going to cut them up just to make sure that they're sound inside. In other words, they're not bad, have gone bad inside. So we're just going to chop them up like this. Now you can use whatever you have. If you have celery, if you have scraps of peppers, whatever you have, you can use in here. So basically we're taking food that you really don't know what to do with it, and you're making beautiful chicken broth with it. Now this is going to cook for about 2 hours. So this isn't something that happens very quickly. You're going to have to cook it until the meat falls off the bone, which may take about 2 hours or even a little longer, depending on how rich you want your broth. Growing your own herbs is so delightful because it's so fresh. So we're just going to pick a good handful of thyme here. I used up most of my parsley, but I still have a little bit here which I can use. And there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and put this on the stove and we're just going to let it simmer away. And it is going to smell like Thanksgiving here real soon. I'll get back to you when it's all finished, and then I'll show you the next process and making your own chicken broth. Let me tell you what, it smells amazing in here. The chicken is done. So when the chicken falls off the bone, then you know that your broth is ready. So let me go ahead and tilt the camera down and show you what we're doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to spoon out all of the chicken. Now that chicken we can take off the bone and we can freeze it or can it. I am freezing the chicken off the bone. Now it's going to have to cool for quite a while before I can take that off the bone. But we're just fishing out all of the chicken. As you can see, the meat is falling off the bone. And there, of course, there's some onions there too. I do not water bath low acid foods. There are people who do that, and however you feel comfortable with, that is totally up to you, but I will not be teaching any of that. You can look that up elsewhere. I am pressure canning this at the standard 35 minutes at 10 pounds pressure for my altitude. All right, I think we got all the meat out of here. Now, we're gonna take the meat, put it to the side. Now we're gonna work on the broth. Since I don't want meat in here, we're gonna go ahead. We are going to take a pitcher like this. Now will hold the heat. And I have a linen on top here with a rubber band. This is going to be like cheesecloth. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to strain all of this broth to make sure there is no meat pieces in it. You can can it with meat, but then of course you have to do it for 90 minutes for quarts and 75 minutes for pints. And now we're gonna pour the rest of our broth into our jars. Now as far as headspace, you wanna have it just about at the rim here. Now, some of these are about 1 inch or 2 below that. The reason why I do that is this is liquid. When you put this into a pressure canner, it is going to boil and boil and boil. If you have it full the whole way up here, it's going to siphon out and make a real mess. So I always leave a little head space as much as I can right here. That way, if it boils, it won't boil out. We're gonna go ahead and wipe our rims really well, and then we'll put our lids on it. So this gave me 7 quarts. Before I wipe the lids and before I put the lids on, I'm going to be adding a little bit of this seasoning. So it's brand new, but it is over 1 year old. I'm gonna put about 1 teaspoon in each of these. It's gonna give it a little bit of seasoning and flavor. It's gonna make it a really good rich broth when I make my chicken pot pie and my chicken noodle soup. The jars have been washed. I washed them in my portable dishwasher. And I checked to make sure there's no cracks on the rims. And now I'm just going ahead and I'm wiping each rim clean. Because we are pressure canning, we do not need to heat up the lids ahead of time. Today I'm using Family Dollars, and this is the Golden Harvest. These actually seal really nice as well. Now you do want to go ahead and you want to rinse your lids. We'll go ahead and rinse them and wash them off, and then we'll put the lids on the jars. Now you're going to put your finger in the middle here and you're going to hold the lid down while you screw on the lid just finger tight. All right, so now we add just enough of water to fill about 1/4. I think it's like 2 quart of water in here. You do not fill any more than that. We only need enough just for the steam. We're gonna go put the lid on the Tefal canner and we're gonna lock it into place. Now the Tefal canner is different than the Presto canners, which are really nice. I use both. This will self-regulate. So you're gonna let it vent. I have to let mine vent for at least 20 minutes because propane takes a long time to heat up. Once the propane heats up, it heats up great. So you let the vent open, you're gonna let it vent for about 20 minutes, and then you're gonna close the vent, and then it's gonna lock into place, and then you watch your gauge. And when it gets to 10 pounds pressure, you're going to count 35 minutes. All right, so it is venting really good. Now we're gonna close the vent, and then when the button pops up, then we start watching it more closely. So the button's gonna pop up real soon. Then we wait till it gets to number 10, and then we count down 35 minutes. The most diverse subject in the whole wide world is everyone's kitchen, because everybody's kitchen is different. We all have unique traits and unique ways of cooking food. My cooking school or cooking class is my way of cooking in my kitchen. I am not a professional cook by any means. I'm not professional at anything. I just want to share with you my kitchen and how I learned to cook. Now, there's going to be all kinds of different things on these cooking type shows or cooking classes, but the difference is they're going to be in depth with steps, you know, so it's not going to be just me starting and then showing you the end product. You're going to see step by step by step. I would strongly suggest that if you're interested in canning or freezing or other meals, to check all kinds of channels or read all kinds of books. I love learning my knowledge from books, but like every book, you can't judge the book by its cover. I hope you enjoyed this video. One day a week, it's going to be a video like this, and it's going to be either freezing, canning, or even making meals. My other videos, I will have meals as well, but they may not be so step by step for all of you. I hope you enjoyed this. It takes a lot of work and effort to create them, but I think that you're going to learn something through them. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.